Before I start, someone asked me why am I wearing the blazer of the past pupils of Don Bosco. Well, I won't preempt the book, but once you get a copy of the book, make sure you read about an early pioneer Maltese Salesian, affectionately known as Ned Kelly. That was my brief. It's my role to introduce Dr. Barry York. I am indeed happy to introduce to you someone I had the pleasure to get to know some 6 years or so ago, immediately after the centenary of organized Maltese migration to Australia, 1883-1983. This was in May 1984, and about that time, in the early 80s, there was an increasing awareness in getting to know more about the history of Maltese, which was beginning to emerge in our community. Barry York at that stage was a student with a burning desire to make sure that historical justice would be done to the Maltese community in Australia, whose migration history was often bypassed, ignored, and never fully appreciated. Today, October 1990, Barry York, in a span of 6 years, has not only obtained his PhD on a topic which is 100% Maltese, but has consistently pushed the Maltese cause on every occasion, especially in academic circles, but equally on a community level. I am glad that since 1984 I have been of some assistance to Barry in supporting and encouraging his enthusiasm, and I thank him for acknowledging my contribution, together with others, of course, who have helped him since then. I'm also particularly proud of the fact that Barry York, who represents the growing number of second-generation Maltese, born in Australia, of Maltese ethnicity, who are now making an impact in professional circles, something our pioneer Maltese families unfortunately could not do. May I assure you that for Barry York, bringing this book to fruition was to him hard work, hard as cutting cane or pick and shovel work, of course on an intellectual level, but still hard work just the same. So our community is looking forward with pride for further contribution in getting to know more about the history of our community in this great nation. Because of time restrictions, I will just ask one question to Barry, particularly in his capacity as a professional historian. Barry, tell us your view on the acceptance of tradition and the lack of documentary evidence in relation to the commemoration of the Maltese flag. How do historians value folk tradition, which is passed from one generation to another, as is the belief in the colour of the Maltese flags?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for your kind words, Mark, and thank you for having me here tonight. Regarding your question, I feel that professional historians increasingly pay attention to traditions that are passed down. If we were to restrict our research to the written record, we would be missing out on a great deal in historical research. For one thing, we'd be missing out on those cultures and that period in human history when printing was not available or when experience was not recorded in writing. So the answer to the question is certainly the oral traditions that are passed down are very valuable, and any historians who overlook that side to history do so at their own disadvantage, I think.
I will now let you continue on your presentation, so over to you.
Thank you very much. I'm very honoured to think that my book, Empire and Race, The Maltese in Australia, 1881 to 1949, is being launched on this occasion of the 900th anniversary of the Maltese flag. I should point out, however, there is another anniversary this year that is dear to my heart and makes me happy that my book has been published in 1990. 50 years ago, my father left Malta, and like most migrants, the decision to leave Malta wasn't based on any lack of love for his homeland. Today, whenever my dad speaks about Malta, I don't think he realises, but he says home. And he left because he joined the Royal Air Force in 1940. And from there he was posted overseas in the Middle East. And then after the war, he was stationed in London where he met my mother. And I think that goes to show how the migration process takes different courses and has different patterns. And I hope that in my book I've brought out the complexity of the migration experience, while at the same time highlighting one fundamental truth about migration. That fundamental truth, in my opinion, was summed up in the 1920s by the first superintendent of emigration in Malta, Henry Casolani. And he said these words. He said, "The best asset that the migrant has is a brave heart and strong arms." And I think brave hearts were needed, not only to cope with homesickness, but also to survive in an Australian environment that was not always friendly. I hope that my book brings out the fact that the Maltese who came here, whether it was in the 1880s or the 1920s or 40s, generally had to struggle. The bed was not made for them on arrival. One of the things that has kept me going as a researcher all these years has been the inspiration that I get from meeting with those brave-hearted men and women who came to Australia 70 years ago, 60 years ago, 50 years ago. In the early stages of my research, I started in 1984, several of these early settlers have unfortunately passed away in that time. My uncle Joe Malak arrived in Melbourne in the 1920s, in the early 20s, and he is unfortunately one who passed on. But I like to think that his memory, and the memory of many others, is being kept alive through the pages of my book. There's not enough time for me to thank everybody who helped me create this book. In the acknowledgements pages, there are roughly 100 people mentioned who I'm indebted to. But tonight, I want to express my thanks, two special thanks. The first one is in appreciation of the work being done by this organisation, the Maltese Cultural Association of New South Wales. It's doing so much to promote an understanding of Maltese Australian life. And I'd like to make a presentation, which I have here, excuse me, of a letter that was written in 1916 from New Caledonia by Paolo Healy of Gozo. I need not tell you the significance of such a document to the Maltese story, especially the Maltese of New Caledonia incident of 1916. In my opinion as a historian, these type of episodes need to be remembered so that we don't repeat the mistakes of our past. So I will present that to Charles Mifsud, if he would like to accept it. The second presentation I would like to make is one that is long overdue from me personally. Unfortunately, Barbara and Lino Vella from the Maltese Herald could not be here tonight, but I think they've done an invaluable service to Maltese and Maltese Australians as a result of their publication, now in its 30th year. There are many ways in which I could praise their work, but I'm concerned tonight only with their role in supporting research into the Maltese Australian story. I've seen letters in the Maltese Herald from Canada, from England, New Zealand, America, and all over Australia requesting help in this type of research. Lino, as editor, has published the results of historical research in a way that I really don't think many other so-called ethnic newspapers have done. We're very lucky to have that newspaper. It's not only a servant of historical research, but itself is part of the Maltese Australian story and a valuable reference for anybody doing research. In the absence of Barbara and Lino, the former director, Marlene Dimech, and Carmen will please come up and accept a plaque which I have had inscribed to Barbara and Lino as the current directors. The plaque is inscribed in appreciation and recognition of your services to Maltese Australian historical research. Carmen? And apart from that, I simply thank you all for allowing me to be here tonight and for your support in my writing and research over the years. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know you've already acknowledged Dr. Barry York, but I believe, and I'm sure that you all agree, that Dr. Barry York has done the Maltese migrant in this country proud. Dr. Barry York. I would now ask the President of the Association, Frank Zammit, to formally thank Dr. York for the beautiful presentation.
Dr. Barry York, there's no need to say that we are very, very appreciative of such a presentation. Especially, we would like to say that this organization has been launched by the Consul for New South Wales, Mr. Anthony Sugar-Russ, on the same day that we have launched the book about the Maltese of New Caledonia. So it is significant, first number one to me personally, because I was deeply involved with that, to the group who were involved with that project, and to this association itself. So thank you very much, and we'll treasure that presentation for a long, long time to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. Dr. York, could I just ask one last thing, please? Would you please be kind enough to introduce the members in your party this evening?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to introduce my wife, Joan Hayes. Also my father, Loretto. Also Dr. James Jupp from the Australian National University. and Dr. David Walker, Head of the School of History at the University of New South Wales. And Dr. Karen Walker, his wife. And Dr. Peter Cochrane and Dr. Alison Free. And Greg Strawn and Beth Studley. And finally, I'd like to introduce two very dear friends of mine who are quite important to the Maltese Australian history, the daughters of the first Maltese settler in Canberra, Ellen Kushiri and Mary Poulis.
Thank you, Dr. York.
When Mark Caruana asked Joe Guy and myself to compose something in English of folkloric nature, we said, that's impossible, Mark, it can't be done. So we call it the impossible dream. And however, the aim of the song was to raise the standard of the Maltese Ana and also to share it with our fellow Australians as well as extend it to our second and other Maltese generations. Signori, il Maltese Centenary Song li saret l-ċentenarju tal-immigrazzjoni lejn l-Awstralja. Nixtieq ngħid lil Joe Galea u lil Cettina Lidell biex ikantaw ilna. Grazzi ħafna.
Listen to my story. They'll oppress me for
Give them a big hand, ladies and gentlemen. On a more serious note, the launching of Empire and Race, the Maltese in Australia by Dr. Barry York. To introduce it, the High Commissioner for Malta in Australia, His Excellency, Mr. Victor Gauci.
President, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to launch the book by Barry York, Empire and Race. I have only had a chance briefly to glance through it because I only received the copy last Friday, but I can see that there is a wealth of material in it, and I think all of us owe a great deal of gratitude to Dr. Barry York for all the hard work that he has done in presenting us with an excellent overview of the history of Maltese migration. I think he mentioned that it reminds him of the day when his father first arrived in Australia. I am pleased to be able to make for the first time the acquaintance of his father. I hope to meet him during the interval. But I think Barry, on this occasion, has, with the presentation of this book, has really managed to put the flag of Malta very firmly on the Asian literary continent. He has obviously been helped by the research that has been done in the past, but I think for the first time a comprehensive compilation has been presented for our benefit through the hard work of Barry and his predecessors. And we are lucky because it's not often that we come across a book, a research on something which has tremendous human dimension in it. Barry York himself mentioned the arrival of his father. I think many people here might even have relatives of the pioneers of the Maltese migration movement, and I think you will all feel particularly pleased to know that somebody has taken the trouble to go through the life history of many who together formed the Maltese migration movement, as Barry has done. He has given us an excellent bit of work. It has already caught the attention, as I have told Barry, of the President of the Republic of Malta and of the Minister for Social Policy, who have specially asked me to send post-haste a copy of Dr. Barry York's book. And now that it is officially launched, I will ask Dr. York to give me a couple of copies so I can send them over to Malta. But I really feel proud to be associated with this launching. It is a tremendous bit of work. I'm sure you'll enjoy it, and I'd like, on your behalf, to thank and to compliment Dr. Barry York for his really remarkable achievement.
Very briefly, I would simply like to thank Mr. Gauci for agreeing to launch the book, and all I can say is repeat what I said earlier, that I hope in some way the memories of all those early pioneers from Malta who struggled so hard will be kept alive through this book. If that happens, it will all be worthwhile. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you, Dr. Berriog. We would like to announce that tonight these books are going to be available here at a very favorable price. You can pick one up later on, and perhaps Dr. Berriog would also like to sign it for you at a special price of $20 tonight. So they're available during the intermission and afterwards. There's the member of the publishing company here who will be very happy to assist you. Also, our booklets, we're not selling those to make any money. There are booklets about Joe Barbara, but anyone who would like to pick one up, we simply want a donation of $2 to get back some of the expenses we made. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. Now, I think it would be a good idea if we have a short interval. There's two things. Firstly, there is drinks and food available at very reasonable prices in the canteen on this side here. Very reasonable prices. And secondly, there will be a raffle to help offset some of the costs here tonight. It'll be 3 tickets for $2, and we ask you to please be generous. U issa se jkollna intervall biex wieħed jista' jieħu xi ħaġa x'jixrob jew ixxieħor hemmhekk fil-kantin prezzijiet baxxi, u se jkun hawn ukoll lotterija dik li ngħidulha raffle li timbieħ 3 biljetti għal $6 u nitolbukom hekk jogħġobkom li tkunu ġenerużi biex intaffu ftit mill-ispejjeż tal-lejla. Grazzi. Malti tradizzjonali l-arranġament tal-Maestro Joe Dalmani u l-banda Our Lady Queen of Peace Band. Thank you, Maestro.
dibattitu Melbourne u jittratta dwar is-sen tal-bandiera Maltija fil-letteratura. Għalhekk nitlob il-Parreja li sa jibisen biex jitilgħu fil-park hekk jogħġobhom. Kull min għandu parti xi jaqra tilgħu xejn fil-park.
Australjani ninaħdu maħudna f'Malta u flimkien magħhom niċċelebraw id-900 anniversarju tal-bandiera ta' ġensna. Bandiera illi jekk mhux l-eqdem hija waħda mill-eqdem fid-dinja.
Il-Heraldry Society ta' Londra titfa' ftit dubji dwar l-antikità tal-bandiera tagħna, imma dan ma jfissirx li dak li jgħidu jew jaħsbu huma huwa minnu. Aħna nafu u għek nafu, burin li nafu il-bandiera tagħna illum tara 900 sena.
Mill-liba tinħawi tad-dinja, illum intajru s-sibijietna lejn l-art li tatna sima u nuru li anke mill-qiegħan tal-multikulturalizmu Awstraljan tidwi l-għanija patriottika li tissibaħ mill-Awstral fuq ġwenħaj tad-deb biex tittajja lejn gżira mbewsa mill-ikħar baħar blu.
Dan juri il-privileġġ kbir li twelidna Maltin. Privileġġ li għatejna il-jiet ħielet biex imperbru il-bandiera bajda u ħamra fuq il-bjut u il-bini hawnhekk fl-Awstralja.
Ta' min isemmi l-ilwien abjad u aħmar jirrappreżentaw is-safa u l-martirju. U min jista' jiġħad illi matul il-ħajja Maltija ġrajietna ma tiġborx biha dawn iż-żewġ virtujiet. Sa minn żmien il-qedem dan is-safa u l-martirju kienu u għadhom il-karatteristiċi ta' Malta u l-Maltin. Dawn il-karatteristiċi u rejnihom b'żewġ assedi u fit-taqbida biex ksibna l-indipendenza u bissirna Repubblika.
Il-bandiera Maltija hija marbuta mal-letteratura ta' ġelsna. U jħed ma jistax jifred il-wid sbieħ elma taħtana mimma l-kelma Maltija. Innifisha bandiera letterata li titkellem bl-oħla lisien. Sem kbir fil-produzzjoni liriku patriottika. Bosta huma il-poeti Maltin li raddew ġieħ il-bandiera Maltija. U mhux lan tiegħi li nsemmihom kollha f'din il-kitba limitata. Imma ma nistax ma semmix ftit minnhom biex nagħti eżempju tar-rabta tal-poeta Malti mal-bandiera Maltija.
Dan l-apprezzament għas-ser qed nagħmel enfasi fuq il-lirika indiġena tal-Maltin Awstraljani fl-użu tal-lingwaġġ tagħhom f'ġieħ il-bandiera Maltija.
Ir-romantiċiżmu fil-pinna tal-poeti Maltin jinħassewwa fil-kitba poetika li tħaddan il-letteratura patriottika tal-gżira li nħobbu, kif naraw minn dan is-sunet tal-poeta nazzjonali tagħna li qatt minsi Duncan.
Il-bandiera Maltija. Hekk, bajda u ħamra biss b'idek jiena. Bandiera ħelwa ta' din l-art ħanina. Għax kull meta s-sibbien ħabtu għalina, hekk, bajda b'ħamra biss raw il-ħajjena. Bajda u safja ħasseba li bjena. meta f'Novembru sajf ieħor jiġi. Ħamra ħaddem fuq wiċċ ta' xepp barżina minn dawk li jintrabbej tax-xogħol għall-biera. Bajda u ħamra biss. Kull lew barrani li jitħallat mal-wienek ikun blu jew ikun aħdar, jħassarlek ismek. Mhux ismek biss jitħassar, iżda ġismek. Is-sabiħ ġismek ma jibqax li ju, imbagħad ma jiswa xejn tibki l-warrani.
Il-ħabib tagħna George Kitkuti, poeta, awtur u editur tal-paġna letterarja tal-gazzetta The Maltese Herald ta' New South Wales ukoll juri l-imħabba tiegħu lejn il-bandiera tal-art li tagħna istima.
Fil-ktieb tiegħu mal-muża fl-Australja 1983 huwa juri l-imħabba lejn il-bandiera Maltija meta jurija fil-ġaketta tal-ktieb u fil-poeżija tiegħu il-Glorja tartna. Huwa jispiċċa din il-poeżija din l-istanza patriottika.
Inwedu mħabbitna lejn Malta qalbjena, imsaħħa daqs plata bandiera u bil-siena.
U fil-poeżija tiegħu żewġ bnadar tal-istess ktieb jgħid hekk.
Ma wara l-bandiera tal-art ħelwa tagħna, hemm issa l-bandiera tal-art Awstraljana.
Il-ħabib tagħna ġew Valentino Barbara, figura ġgantija fil-letteratura Maltija. Urina mħabtu lejn il-bandiera tagħna fis-saffika tiegħu tislima li deret għal-teoloġija irjieħ li minna nislet is-seba' stanza.
Bandiera sbejħa, ħamra u bajda, Perper, ġo Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide u Hobart. Perper ġo Brisbane, Perth u Darwin, Perper fl-Awstralja kollha.
U hekk għandna nagħmlu llum, imperpru il-bandiera fl-Awstralja kollha biex il-kliem ta' Barbara jieħu n-nifs tal-ħajja fost il-Maltin imbeda mixtut sbieħ ta' Malta.
Imbagħad xi ngħidu dwar il-President u fundatur tal-Għaqda Kulturali ta' New South Wales, il-ħabib tagħna Frank Zammit. Wieħed ikun qed jagħmel inġustizzja jekk ma jgħid xi ħaġa dwar il-kitba tiegħu fuq dan is-suġġett li qed niċċelebraw id-900 anniversarju tiegħu, il-bandiera għażiża tar li tatna isimha.
Zammit għandu aċmiru ta' poeżiji miktubin f'diversi forum bġieħ il-bandiera sabiħa tagħna. U hawnhekk huwa xieraq li nagħti x-xhieda tal-patriotiżmu tiegħu billi nidwi xi siltiet minn kitbietu.
Il-lanja il-bandiera Maltija fid-9 ċentenarju tagħha. Poeżija li fiha 16 stanza li wieħed jista' jsejħilha ballata nislet.
Ma nħarqitx nirien il-gwerer, ma nxtrat qatt bi flus l-arien. Ma nħarqitx birjieħ il-bidla, ġieħ ħasħieħ fil-bogħod fil-qrib.
Mill-poeżija tiegħu it-tempji ta' qalbi miktuba l-okkażjoni tal-festa tal-Vitorja, nislet l-aħħar stanza.
Bejn il-kampnari, minn narrex fuq dinja barranija, il-bajda u ħamra tperper bla waqfien. U ġewwa bħal inċensi fuq il-siem pajjiżi jimla sal-iċkem vojt imwarrab. F'nofs il-kursija, l-ampier bi fjamma dejjem ħajja tixel il-poeżija.
Mis-sunett tiegħu li huwa sunnett Shakespearean, magħruf ukoll bħala sunett Ingliż, li ġġib it-titolu tal-Malta f'jum l-Indipendenza u li Zammit kiteb għall-okkażjoni ta' dan il-jum ġrajji nislet.
Bil-biesek bajdani moddija, b'mantell aħmar jisboq lid-dem, intmiexi għal-qudiem bla mistħija, titbiet mill-jasar u l-em.
Mill-poeżija tiegħu jum il-Vittorja li hija wkoll fl-istil tal-ballata u li deret fi The Maltese Herald ta' New South Wales nhar it-tlieta 2 ta' Settembru 1980 nisbet is-seba' stanza fejn huwa jgħidilna.
Oxi ħlewwa, mollija l-bandiera bajda u ħamra li jien tant ħabbejt. Ħelu tisfen titbanda l-mannoti u tfakkarni f'dik l-art fejn trabbejt.
U fl-aħħar net nixtieq nislet fl-aħħar strofa mill-poema tiegħu Eukaliptu Satar u Pleju l-inqrat waqt iż-żjara tal-Prim Ministru tagħna l-Onorevoli Dr. Eddie Fenech Adami fuq il-monument tal-Martin f'Penderhill fil-15 ta' Wissu 1909.
Kull fejn inġbarna l-nija tellajna l-fuq il-bajda u ħamra. Ma' ġenb dik tal-Awstralja tperper imkabbra bandiera Maltija.
Dr. George Boffa jurina il-patriottizmu tiegħu fil-poeżija Bandiera Maltija li qrat ukoll waqt iż-żjara tal-Prim Ministru tar-Repubblika ta' Malta. Din il-poeżija fiha versi jirrakkontaw storja u l-aġenda. Għalhekk tista' tiġi klassifikata bħala poeżija narrattiva. Min din il-poeżija li ħarġet minn qalb ta' tabib li jaf iħobb bis-sinċerità kollha nixtieq nisleb.
Imma xi drabi jiġini l-ħsieb meta r-rieħ ibatti u int tintela għajjera. Tkun qiegħda tistrieħ kif jixraq, kif ħaqqek, bandiera sabiħa, bandiera qalbina, bandiera glorjuża, bandiera ta' storja. Jew forsi brasek baxxuta, surtek mitluqa, bajnejk miksurin, qalbek maqsuma, ħosbina tkun u tikbil il-min u stuliedek jolqos lid-din.
Balda Sarmato jispiċċa l-tib tiegħu mat-tren tal-ħsieb tislima tas-sew patriottika li minna nislet.
Lilek jart walidi, lilek li twaħħat miegħek, lilek li tħebbni b'moħħi, lilek li tixel f'qalbi, lilek li tolli ruħi, lilek tal-bajda u ħamra, lilek li l-fantazija ġennin moħħi biha, lilek jew Ommi Malta, li sqejtni kull ridek, il-rid qabel nieqaf imbusek fuq ħaddek.
Il-tematika tal-kitba bil-Malti fl-Australja fiha l-aspetti kollha li jirriflettu nostalġija għal dak kollu li huwa Malti. U minħabba fek illum nilaqgħu flimkien biex insellmu, nfaħru u npebru il-bandiera Maltija, il-bot mixtuq sbieħ ta' Malta Maltija.
U issa biex inkun ħadd sehem din il-laqgħa tagħkom ġo New South Wales, nixtieq intemm il-kitba bis-sunett tiegħi il-bandiera Maltija.
Rrid nara kull fejn immit riġlejja biex nippretendi li ġejt fl-art Maltija. Kull fejn immur rrid nara kburija fi ħsiebek kalamita jiġbdek lejja. Rridek tiegħi biss ngewsrek ħdejja, ma rridek tkun taħad tkun biss għalija. Rrid nuri l-kulħadd lejra ġofija, nperprek biss mill-arblu twil ta' għajnejja. Rrid insemmi l-leħni minn kamarti, kull fejn immur rrid niftaħar bik u nġiel l-kulħadd lilek isellem. Rrid nitpaxxa bik issa għal dejjem u meta mmut nixtieq nitgeżwar fik biex nibqa' nperprek anke minn qabarti. Tonight, of course, is what we can call it, our national anthem for the Maltese flag, a hymn to the Maltese flag. Zammit sena tal-bandiera Maltija u Maltin, irnexxina nagħmlu innu speċjali, innu sabiħ, kantata minn Mifsud Brothers, N Mifsud u Cettina Lidell, versi ta' Frank Zammit u rekordjar ta' Din Simjana. Grazie ħafna.
Storia helwa, wa li qalbi
ladies and gentlemen, that was Sam and Laurie Mifsud and Cettina Lidell, whom I'm sure you will agree did a magnificent job. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we call on a young man by the name of Owen Lidell, son of Cettina Lidell, to read, I take it, or recite a poem by George Gauci regarding the Maltese flag. U issa għatfajjel Owen Lidell, it-tifel ta' Cettina, li se jitkellem dwar il-bandera Maltija ta' George Gauci.
Il-bandira Maltija. Pepe, bandira, pepe, pepe marriħ qawwija, saħħa ila nafosna, fabbira ġawinija. Ġi ismet bajda u ħamra, jitbaddej ħmana, rajitek tal-modi ikunu lożatana. Fil-ferħ u sew fid-dwejja, fil-paċi u fil-taqti, jitbaddu għarna ħajja u famna b'lola ġieħ. Fil-ferħ u sew fil-dwejja, fil-paċi u fil-taqti, jitbaddu għarna ħajja u famna b'lola ġieħ. Il-qati talba tiegħi l-suġa bl-oħlansin, fisem l-art ħelwatana għaqadna kol fl-imkien. Tal-lejx minn iżeblaħ, il-ġieħ tal-art Maltija, pepe, bandira, pepe, baqarna għalanija.
Owen tells me he's 8 years old. Isn't he fantastic? Bravo, Owen.
U issa Owen li tant iħobb il-Malti li fessibu jkompli jistudja u jaqra bil-Malti ħan ippreżentaw f'isem laqda b'sitt żgħir ta' kotba bil-Malti. All right?